Yeah.
You are a son of a bitch.
Un saluto a tutti.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the AJC. We are getting ready for the big one today. Juve and Napoli. Ant, you ready for this one or what?
Well, you know, 3 Fridays in a row. I'm kind of liking the Fridays. I'm not, to be completely honest, it doesn't really tie up the weekend. Am I ready for this particular match? Oh, we'll get to that in the predictions, my friend. We will get to all of that.
I'm glad that you're enjoying the Fridays because I am not, all right? So obviously managed to weasel my way out of work there last week to run the watch along. And then I can't run the watch along for this one today, which hurts me because I'd love to run one for this game because I'm going to be hyped up. And what's the point of having me at work when this game's on? Because I'm going to be...
complete waste of time.
It's a complete waste of time. I completely agree, right? So, if my employers happen to be watching, an early leave.
I just take vacation days. That's what I do.
Or an extended lunch. Yeah, but I got the holidays coming up, so I'm actually using my holidays around that
So the game for you starts at 11:45 a.m., right?
It'll be 11:45, yeah. I start my lunch.
Just take an extended lunch.
I start at 12:15, so we'll be already deep into the first half. So, when I do go for lunch, my truck will unfortunately have some issues that I'll have to tend to while I'm out on lunch.
100%.
Exactly. So we're on the same page here. Everybody, let's see here. We got Georg Zammut saying that complaint has been filed by ADL on this podcast due to cheating and unfair practices. Yes. And we'll get to his silly little words here. We'll get to some of the news, and then we'll get right into this matchup. But we did have a couple of birthdays this week. The former and the current president, and I don't think anybody would recognize the new president if you said his name, Gianluca Ferrero. But anyways, he celebrated his birthday. I don't think people can determine who is Scanavino and who is Ferrero, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it should be. They may be interns as well, as we're starting to get rumors all over the place. And what I've been saying with the rumors about management team and who wants to come in, let's just wait and see where the chips fall. It's way too early to determine anything right now. I will, and I have been giving credit to these guys, though, because the cleanup is something that we've needed to bite the bullet on for quite some time and never actually just went ahead and did it. And now we are, all right, which is great. So I can appreciate that. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, they didn't rush. They didn't rush into anything this summer. You know what I mean? Like there was the cleanup at the beginning of the year. Once Giuntoli came in, sort of calmed the waters. Once confidence was instilled in Max for him to stay, whether you agreed or disagreed, that sort of settled everything down. So something has to be said. They've done a good job. I know we've wanted more players to come in, but we just don't have the money. What are we even talking about? So. Let's just wait and see. Wait and see till June. I think next summer is going to be exciting. You're thinking January is going to be good.
No, I'm thinking that we got to see somebody in January. But I've started to change my tune over the past couple of days because we're starting to get different signs. But first up, big thank you. Paolo che Manfredi di Amor doppietta di Rabbio. I hope so. My friend. And hopefully that's enough to get the victory. We'll talk about what I think about Napoli as well coming into this game. But with the management keeping it in line, Giuntoli's been getting a lot of praise as of late, and he hasn't even started to cook. Like, I'm not knocking him when I say that, but he hasn't even had an opportunity to truly get into it. And
hasn't even gone to the grocery store to get the ingredients.
Yeah, so there's still a long way to go, but I am feeling very good about him. And I said those words that you get from Arsenal's sporting director where he says, Giuntoli? Oh, no, far too difficult for me to negotiate with. Good. And I said it there.
Great.
Come correct or don't come at all. So I like that. People should be thinking that they're not going to have their way with Juventus. So I think he's starting to set the tone, although he hasn't really had an opportunity to really dive into his job. Do you agree with that on him kind of setting the tone?
Yeah, the setting the tone like Shorzy. Set the tone.
Set the tone,
Um,
baby.
so, if anyone hasn't seen Shorzy, please give it a
Great
try.
show. Great
Anyways,
show.
um, these sort of things with the general managers, sporting directors, whatever you want to call the position, you got to give them at least 2 years to get their guys in. You have to at least allow them to get their own manager slash coach in. So that might be Allegri for Giuntoli. Who knows? He hasn't out. He's come out and said, Allegri is a guy. He said all the right things, but it hasn't been confirmed in my eyes, at least, that Allegri is his guy. Like that hasn't been set. I don't think it is, but we'll see how it goes. What players are Giuntoli's that are on this squad? Exactly. So his stamp hasn't even been put on it. Even when he gets his own players, you have to give them time with the manager that he wants. 3 years. He needs at least 3 years. So we got lots of time with this guy. I think he signed a
Yeah.
5-year contract. So
He'll
really looking
start.
for it. And then the other management, Scanavino and Ferraro, I'm happy that we don't hear about them. That's my
Yeah,
main thing.
we are starting to get more links abroad, though. And that could be a sign of a couple
Mm-hmm.
things. And we've been saying for a while, I have anyways, that if the teams in Italy want to play hardball, they want to try to rip us off on prices, whatnot, etc., then you know what? We take our business elsewhere. Because if the
Correct.
threat of us walking or moving, I think in the end, they're going to want those deals. Everyone in Italy for the clubs needs the finances. Like they need the money to be kept in Italy. And if they were going to pull that, that's a dangerous proposition for a league that's already struggling, in my personal opinion. And I don't think
How many
teams would turn down deals if all of a sudden they were going to lose to some deals going abroad. I just don't see it. I don't see it. I
who
don't
who
think
are
they
who
would
are buyers
continue
in
to play
Italy?
this hardball.
Who are buyers in Italy? Juventus, Inter.
Yeah. And obviously Milan will look at talents in. They're
Maybe
all linked with
who
these
with their
guys like
new.
Zelensky and stuff. It is what it is. Like
Mhm.
the top teams in Italy, that's what they do. But Napoli has been having success at going abroad and finding these players abroad and buying these players. So, and that was Giuntoli. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting. But right now, biting the bullet financially and doing all this cleanup is something that we had to do.
Fantastic.
We had to. Weah was essentially our only guy we brought
Oh, there you go.
in the summer, other than returning a lot of young guys. Weah has come up a lot because he still can't find himself on the
What the
team list.
hell? What the hell's going on?
Man. So now that he
Too
can't
much.
find himself on the team list, people are asking, what the hell is going on with Weah at something that was seemingly minor and all of a sudden he can't get in? I don't know, but there are some rumblings. And one was from our follower, subscriber, longtime follower and supporter of the show,
Mm-hmm.
Vinny. Vinny said, I wish they would have kept Quadrado over picking up Weah. We would have been better off. What do you think about that? And what does the live chat think about that? Should we have kept Quadrado rather than even bringing Weah in? I think his salary was going to be stupid still.
Let's just put that. We'll put the salary. We'll put the salary aside because that's an easy.
Yeah.
That's an easy thing to say. You can't compare the salary. So putting that aside, just to make this a fair conversation, we're only in one competition, so I don't think we needed the depth to have both of them. A change was needed at that position, something fresh. I think the fans wanted. I never had any issue with Quadrado as a person because he's done a lot of good off the field. If you in those Juventus documentaries, you see a lot of the stuff that he's done for the community. So I think as a person and as a player around the club, he was well respected in the community. So I don't have an issue with him that way. But on the field, something needed to change. It was getting stagnant, sort of at that. I think something fresh was needed there. I don't think there's anything going on with Weah, to be honest, in terms of him losing his position. I believe he's still trying to recover from an injury, because there was nothing in his play that dictated him deserving any sort of extended benching. But then again, same could be said for Illing Jr. So, like, where the hell is that guy? Oh yeah, he had the body cam out. I think we'll get to that. But for me, I agree with the change, but I don't like share Lucci's sentiment where we had to get rid of Quadrado. He was a complete waste. I just think something fresh had to happen at that wing position.
I think I was fine with the moving away. Now, do I regret him not being here? Not really.
No.
And that's a credit to Weston McKennie, to be honest, because McKennie's filled
True.
the role, and also Cambiaso.
Mm-hmm.
But Quadrado's strengths faded, and his strength was always winning the 1v1s and getting that ball deep and then finding somebody or having to hit himself or whatnot, and that faded. There's also a lot of rumors. There was a lot of rumors tying him to locker room issues right there with Bonucci. And he's one of those names that keeps coming up that when guys are throwing hints at changes in the locker room that have benefited the group. And I think we can all maybe agree that it does feel a little bit different when you watch his team as far as attitude, demeanor, maybe a little bit more united. I'm not sure. That's all speculation, but that was one thing taken into consideration, that when they talked about getting rid of a few, and Max Allegri has said this on 2 press conferences, getting rid of a couple personalities in the locker room seems much more united. Yeah, I think Quadrado very well may have been one of those guys right next to Leo. But hey, for me,
that game last week is a loss last year.
I don't have any regrets in terms of the Quadrado thing. So it is what it is. With Weah, though, it's weird. I had concerns even before he got injured because of him getting clipped on plays or whatever and going down, and it was like, man, is this guy hurt? Like a couple were like 2 minutes into a game, and I was like, man, he's hurt. Like he's going down. Like he makes me nervous. He makes me nervous. A little bit soft there, a little bit soft potentially. We'll see what happens though. Nobody's really got clear details on his injury either, and that's what I find the most bizarre. Not that a guy's injured, not that a guy's been out this period of time, but the lack of details is what I'm kind of find strange. Do you agree?
Yeah, and again, I don't think he was playing poorly. He's new to the league. I think he has a lot to learn. He's young as well. Like what?
He's 22, I think. 22, 23.
Right? So still trying to get used to the culture and the food. Right. I know he was in France, so it's not vastly different, but still trying to get acclimatized. I know he has McKennie there. But I just think he just picked up some odd injuries, and we'll see if he can turn around here in the second half of the season. Have we missed him though?
Well, his impact I thought was going to be much bigger based on what he did in the preseason. He looked like he was going to be a demon for us.
Problem. Yeah.
It didn't play out that way, and I'm not so sure why. But separate thing there.
Mm-hmm.
The rumor mill, and we were talking about it. Players, recruits coming in January. What's going to happen? Well, I have always leaned with Skira, who's been incredible for several years now on the run.
Yeah,
says 100% a midfielder will come in January, but I must admit, everybody, I'm starting to have my doubts based on what we're hearing, and that is just that now even the targets that seemed logical and realistic, everyone's starting to change their tune, but I'm still waiting for Skira, Mirko on a few. Agresti hasn't been touching a lot of them and has been pretty vague. It's weird, but I am still working on trying to get him back in here. I want to get Mirko back in here. But and Skier, I mean, we've tried to set something up through the summer. It's extremely difficult, but I'd like to get Nico in here too. And we are trying to continuously work on that. But I'm trying to get somebody to like play into these ones that we're hearing, like Samardzic is a no for January. I still have my doubts. Like I still feel like Udinese might move on a deal. But beyond that, Sudakov, now we're hearing it's not 15 mil, it's 30. I'm starting to get the feeling that Juve is posturing up. And today we start to hear reports of that Juve may not want to commit. It's either they commit to somebody or they just flat out wait until the summer. And the question came up. It was a great question. We tackled it on a Storm in the Barn in the green room because we ran out of time going live. It came in from Mark, and it was, can this team without recruits get the job done? We all shared our thoughts and everything, but we may very well be facing a winter mercado with nothing if Juve doesn't want to commit outside of a dry loan for the remaining months of the season. And that's what it might come to. So I'm starting to think that Juve's not going to commit until certain things are achieved. They get this flux of resources, which should come with a new sponsor for the kits, potentially minority shareholder in sales and whatnot. But we are staring down the barrel of not bringing anybody in. And that's what you actually expected.
I've been saying this for months. I'm like, it's not something that we've done. That Vlahovic deal was a unicorn. That's not something that we normally do. And expecting us to, again, I was using the word splash, and then you and I had that conversation. Okay, what's a splash? And we won't get into that. I'll rehash all that. I just don't see anybody in Italy doing us any favors to help us out based on our position in the table. Now, outside of Italy, maybe. Like you said, a dry loan, a player coming in. The cleanup is still happening, so I don't think anything over 10 million would get done. I think they just want to wait till the summer. Bernardeschi. Realistically, that's the only one I could see coming in. I know we laugh and people are just like, that can't be real. In all honesty, well, we can't really afford his wages now, thanks TFC. But in January, if we win today, that puts us right now we're 9 points clear of fourth. That'll put us 12 points clear of fifth. I don't think there's a big urgency based on our spot in the table. Right?
Yeah.
If we're 12 points clear in fourth place, the manager's going to look at Allegri and be like, what do you mean? You're doing fine. We don't have to spend any money. Who do you need to bring in? Just stay the course, and then we'll deal with it in June.
I think, and this is going to tie into this match with Napoli, but I think there are options with who we have opening up for Max. Whether or not he takes them, that's a different story. But there are options opening up with the players that we have in terms of positions, roles, and what he can do. I put out my starting lineup, what I would do against Napoli, and I knew 100% it wasn't something that Max was going to do. But it's interesting that a lot of the thoughts out there on changes to my starting 11 weren't very far off and didn't affect the midfield, where I think we do need a boost. And if we were going to bring a player in, that's why Bernardeschi makes absolutely no sense to me, because he's not a midfielder anyways. He's played there for us before, but we need a midfielder that can create, that is offensive minded. If you're going to bring anybody in the winter mercado, it has to be there. Otherwise, don't do it at all. So the Bernardeschi thing, that's why, like, obviously it's logical in terms of the fact that it would be a dry loan for the remainder of the season. But man, we'd be picking up scraps on that contract because of what TFC did. But I don't want to see him in anyways. We need a midfielder if we are going to bring somebody in. But I'm starting to lean towards the fact that Juve's posturing up for the summer, and that's when everything we're going to see happens. Of course, the rumors with Samardzic were he was going to come this summer and that the move is finalized, the agreement between player and Juventus. But obviously they'll have to work with Udinese, but Udinese apparently doesn't want to do anything this season as they fight for their life in Serie A. We will see what happens. As far as Rooney Bardghji.
Before we move on that one, do you see Juventus making a deal in January to bring someone in June? Like paying in advance or closing a deal in January for June? I still don't even see that, because I still think they want to see what happens with Rabiot, see what happens with Max. I don't even see that happening.
I'm
Like closing
uncertain
a deal
now
for
about
Samardzic
January. I
in
feel the
January.
same as what I've been saying. I'm uncertain about what's going to happen, if they're going to do anything. I believe if a team was willing, if we can find a sale for Illing Jr. and one of our targets is able to be moved in January, that is a midfielder that can help us with the traits we miss, I do believe they would get that deal done. One deal. If we can move Illing Jr. in January, which it seems that all roads are pointing to a sale there, okay, regardless of what anybody thinks about it or whatnot, it seems like that's what's going to happen. If that goes down, yeah, then I could see them committing. If it doesn't, then no, I don't think so. And then there would be other things you would have to do outside of that. Find a loan for Hans Nicolucci Caviglia, which shouldn't be difficult. And he has teams interested in picking him up for the second half of the season. But I wouldn't even do that. I'd still probably keep him around, because if we get injuries, we're pretty skinny, right? So I would still keep him around. There's talks about Huijsen. That's another on the rumor mill. Him wanting to be loaned out in January. Anthony, do you loan him out or do you keep Huijsen around for the second half of the season?
Who was it? I think it was Mirko. Might have been Mirko who said all these rumors of Yildiz and Houston being loaned out. It is not happening in January. Do I see it happening to help close another deal? Maybe. Does he need the Houston just turned 18, so I don't think there's any big rush to get him out there getting minutes. Like yield it maybe, but no, I don't see it happening.
You guys know where I stand with Alexandro, and that is the reason why I would take the growing pains, and I think any minutes that go outside of guys like Rugani, Gatti, etc., should be going to Huijsen over Sandro. Okay, that's how I feel. So I'm gonna say keep him around. The reality, unfortunately, is that Max Allegri has this thing with Alexandro. So if the kid isn't going to be getting minutes,
a big thing.
It might be beneficial for him to go somewhere and chew up those minutes. Juventus does want to keep him around though, and he's been going back and forth from next gen and the first team as well. Same with Yildiz. But minutes.
Have they been playing with next gen?
Minutes with these guys.
Have they been playing with next gen, or have they just been solely with the first team?
They haven't been solely with the first. Well, as of late, they were before, but now they're solely with the first team when they got their full promotions. But again, the minutes, like even that was strange to me, because I'm like, you're getting first team full promotion, but you're not going to be getting those game minutes. And it's an interesting one. I liked when they were mixing it up between the two. And I think I would have still stuck along those lines, but maybe they had to make some commitments to those guys. We'll see what happens. But, man, if he's not going to be getting minutes, it might be beneficial to loan him out. We'll see. Everybody, reminder, get those likes up, all right? Get those likes up. We're going to be getting into the discussion on Juve Napoli now, okay, with this massive game today. It's going to have impact on top four for sure. Inter's going to be facing Udinese. Look, I know the games are played on the pitch. Anything can happen, but Inter at home to Udinese, it's going to take one of Udinese's best performances this season to get by Inter. That's just the reality. It pains me to say. Sure. It hurts me a lot to say. Inter's playing good ball. They're a well-oiled machine. Oh, my God.
It's all right. Just a fact.
So they should be getting the win there, okay? If Juventus, if this game gets away from us and doesn't go the way we want it to, we would fall behind, okay, by 5 points. That's still far from over. And you guys know me, always the optimist. I still believe. I believe we'll be in this thing until the end. But do I feel this game is going to get away from us? No. I don't think this game is going to get away from us. We're going to talk a little bit about Napoli now. My thoughts on Napoli. Then we're going to talk about Juventus, okay? When you look at Napoli, I was saying this even when Rudy Garcia was still their manager, okay? And that's the fact that it's a lot different. It's a lot different when you are playing as the defending champions as opposed to when you're chasing that. And the pressure is immense when it's the former, right? When you are defending the championship, it's a lot different. And these guys, their execution has been brutal for Garcia, and I'd say even for Mazzarri, because they're generating a ton of opportunities. They're not putting the ball in the back of the net the way they were last season. So we could talk coach this, coach that. I do believe Garcia had to go. Mazzarri, I will say, has been smart about it because he's come in and he's tried to get them just to go back and play in the fashion they did under Spalletti, pressing very, very high, trying to strip that ball and then trying to attack and hit you immediately. They did that to Inter in the first half. They were all over them. Closest they came was a crossbar from Politano, and that was a shot from range too. And then Inter stung them. And Napoli is leaky at the back, okay? Last season, when they won the Scudetto, what nobody's talking about, they only conceded 28 goals in the season's entirety. They are already at 17 goals. This team is leaking at the back. They're suspect at the back. That's why I believe Juventus should be able to capitalize today. Anth?
They've gone 5 games, 5 games without a clean sheet. They average less than 4.5 cards a game in their last 5 of 6. So they don't get penalized a lot, but they tackle. They're one of the top teams in tackling, if you want to use that stat. I can give you some other stats on Napoli if anybody wants to hear them. Well, you're going to hear it because I'm about to say it. So in the league, they're first in shots, 12.3. They're first in shots on goal, 5.9. So they're putting the ball in net. They're getting their chances. They're third in goals average, so 1.9 a game. Passing, they're first. So they average 539 passes a game. So if anyone wants to play the possession game and the predictions, you can use that. Completed passes are also first at 468 passes per game. So they possess, they shoot, they're just not scoring. And to be honest, they are an away team. They are not a home team. They're not playing well at home. They stink at home. But away, they are 5 wins, 2 draws, no losses. They have 16 goals for, 5 against. And that gives them 17 points. That puts them second in the table in terms of away. But Juve at home, same thing. 5 wins, 2 draws, 0 losses. We've only conceded 4, scoring 11. That puts us first in terms of home record at 17 points. So kind of a battle of, the unstoppable force and the immovable object going at it today. So bet accordingly, my friends.
With their, with the way they've been struggling to put the ball back in the net, when you have a team like Inter that says they were afraid to open up against Juventus, okay, because they knew that we were going to be tough to crack. Inter was going to have to send numbers, and they didn't want to. Barella came out and said that. You saw a different side against Napoli. He said it right after the Napoli game. We were scared to open up against Juventus. Against Napoli, we started to feel comfortable in doing so, and they did. And they pulled away in that game. I think Napoli is going to be weary of Juventus. I really do. Excuse me. I really do. I think they will come out. They will try to press us. But I see them struggling to break Juventus. I really do. It's going to be Bremer and Osimhen is going to be the battle to watch. Osimhen is massive for Napoli. It's a game changer. And you know that moment against Inter when it was Marcus Thuram on Bremer out on the wing after Rabiot got caught and then Rugani came in like a banshee, missing everything. And it was Thuram and Bremer there. If you get Osimhen, which Napoli tries to do, they try to spring them through in those scenarios when they're being pressed at the back. If you get Bremer in those scenarios with Osimhen, that's where it could get away from us. And that's where it could get trouble. So they really have to be calculated, Juventus does, in how they watch those breakouts on Osimhen. And they might have to keep somebody to support Bremer, because if it's natural buildup, I have no concerns with Bremer on Osimhen. In natural buildup, in man-on-man, whatnot, in space, attacking 50-50s, and there, Osimhen's going to have the pace on him, and I think that's where it could get away from Bremer.
He's a very, very good player. Like, you cannot take anything away from the guy. You can't.
No,
he is one of the most dangerous players in the league. And
Osimhen is absolute lightning in those scenarios. That is where Juventus is going to have a game plan and make sure they have support for Bremer in those moments. So the line, even when we're in their area and pushing them forward, I don't think you can push completely with your back line. And you are going to have that mindfulness of Osimhen going back the other way. So for me, two-man pivot probably makes a lot of sense for Juventus also, but we're never going to see it. So Locatelli is going to come in here. We got Dom coming in here. Let's go. Forza Juve. Big one today. Everybody get those likes up again. Get those likes. Huge one for Juventus, okay? And there were rumors that Di Lorenzo was not going to play for Napoli. He shut those down. He's fine. He's going to be good to go, all right? But again, for me, they're soft at center back. Losing the Korean monster was massive for them and something they have not been able to recover. Can Mazzari get them to start keeping the ball out of the net? Hopefully not today, everybody. And for Juventus, we know the other side of the story. We know that Juventus has the second most big chances created, only to Inter, but has the highest big chances missed. Today, we have to be ruthless in front of goal and capitalize. Have to be. Vlahovic, we'll talk about all this. I do feel, and we were talking about this earlier, Max has options. He's starting to get options, okay? I said in the middle of the park, even if you wanted to continue the way you are, you don't want to shift to two-man pivot. You don't want to do anything like that, okay? That's okay. That's fine, all right? Use Hans Nicolucci Caviglia. I would, again, in hopes that Locatelli can bring some more impact, something out of this midfield that we're desperate for. But I didn't expect it, but I said that's an option that's available to him. For me, everybody that says no, Hans Nicolucci Caviglia has faced his toughest test already against Inter. I don't have a fear of him going against Napoli. What do you think?
I know there was a lot of stuff said about him post games in sort of the negative light. I didn't see anything. He came in and played 60 minutes against Inter. That was our biggest match of the year. It pains me to say that because I know we're not in Champions League, but that was our biggest match of the year. And
so far, yeah.
Did he perform subpar? No, I thought he was fine. Like, he didn't hurt us. Didn't exactly, help us a ton.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Like, that's okay. It's okay for him to learn and grow. And this is what Juventus fans have been asking for. Hey, play the young guys. Let's see what these guys have. He came in and he showed it. Now, Locatelli came in and the bar just went, you could see it. It was a big change. There is no reason why that Hans would hurt us in this game. If needed, I think he'd come in and be just fine.
I don't want to sound like I'm going against something that I believe that every one of you knows I believe, which is that Locatelli is a two-man pivot midfielder all day, every day, okay? I don't think, and I've said this for a couple of years now, I don't believe he's going to make or break us as a Mezzala. Okay, I don't think it's going to be as game-changing as everybody believes. However, if I had to take my pick on somebody that could help the impact and influence out of the midfield at Mezzala of McKennie, Locatelli, Miretti, or Hans Nicolucci Caviglia, I'm picking Locatelli out of that group every single time. And that's why I say we should probably see it. But I also understand wanting to play it safe and be more comfortable with what you have and using Locatelli in that spot ahead of the defense and having McKennie play as your Mezzala and Cambiaso again on the right. So we'll get to our lineups because that is exactly what we were set to see. Szczesny, Gatti, Bremer, Danilo. This is from Romeo Agresti. Are you surprised in Rugani not being out there and maybe Danilo not taking Gatti out? Are you surprised by that?
So say those three again. Bremer, Gatti.
It's Gatti, Bremer, Danilo as your 3 CBs.
I'm fine with that. Rugani's been great. You want to know? He's done the job. He's filled the role. That one slide tackle against Inter kind of burned the bridge for a lot of people, but that was his first step wrong since Villarreal, which was 2 years ago.
Yeah,
essentially, he's been consistent. He's been solid. I'm okay with those three. If you wanted to swap Rugani in there, who would you put Rugani in there for?
I honestly, the last time we saw Danilo was in the last game, and we played him at the Regista role. I don't start Danilo until next week against Genoa. He doesn't need to. I would go Gatti, Bremer, Rugani in this game. Live chat, where are you guys at with the 3 center backs? That's what I would have done.
I agree with that. He must be now. Danilo, another polarizing figure amongst Juventini because a lot of people say there's really no middle ground with him. You either think he's horse shit or everyone thinks he's the deserved captain, right? That's just how it seems out there in the Matrix.
Yeah.
He, over the past 2 years, game in and game out, he's been the deserved captain of this team. That's what to me, that's what he's been. I know people have issues. Sometimes he puts a foot wrong here and there. When he's on the ball that much, he's on the ball a lot. He touches the ball a lot as a fullback. He is our best defender, and if he's ready to go, is he our best defender? Yeah, for me, he's our best defender. If he's ready to go, he has to start. Unfortunately, that just means Rugani has to sit.
I don't know. Mark agrees, says if he's 100% fit, he should play instead of Rugani. I don't know in this game when those 3 have been so strong that I change it. I don't think it's set in stone that Danilo's not a starter anymore, but it's hard to go from something that's been strong. And it took one error for them to get cracked.
But I'll add something in this case. I'm more comfortable with Danilo in there commanding the troops when you have a striker like Osimhen on the other side. Him commanding Bremer, organizing everything to shut that down. Danilo's the better player to start.
I was going to say my only thought in this, and it's strange because there's pros and cons to Danilo in here, obviously, but the pro would be the pace because he is quicker than Rugani. He's fucking a hell of a lot quicker than Sandro. So if Bremer does, succumb to something from Osimhen, Danilo's got the most wheels at the back there to help clean that up. However, it would maybe make more sense if Danilo plays to put him on the opposite side because of Kvara. And Kvara might be given Gatti fits. It's another reason why I wanted McKennie out of the midfield and as that wingback. McKennie's been an absolute beast this season for a lot of reasons, mainly the effort, the work rate and everything, but his best in both phases has been at the wingback role.
Correct.
So for me, it's just like, okay, everything that he did to change our minds came from the wingback role, but now he's getting the starting role in the middle, which to me is night and day difference as to what he was producing for us. So Gatti, I'm okay staying back there. I'd put McKennie at that right wing back role to help him, and he'll get a ton of support. But then your Mezzala becomes who? One of Miretti or Hans Nicolucci Caviglia. I'd be fine with Miretti in there. But that's why I honestly think I would go with Locatelli in that Mezzala role and let Hans keep doing his thing. And if we weren't scared to do it against Inter and had to do it against them, I'm sure as hell not scared of Napoli's midfield. I think they overachieved big time last season, whatnot, but decent guys in there. I know Laboca was in there as best midfield, making up the threesome with Çalhanoğlu and Barella. But I have no fears in playing this kid. And the last game, he started to see some signs that he was starting to open up a bit, starting to become a little bit more comfortable, spraying the ball out and whatnot. Those are little signs, okay? In the first time we saw him against Inter, he kept it as simple can be, man. Like short passes, quick passes, just get rid of it. He didn't want that thing. Secondly, he started to want it a little bit more, started to demand it a little bit more. He'll get more and more comfortable, but the question for me is, who do we have that's going to get the massive impact out of the middle? Well, the stats say Rabiot has been that guy. Are these stats misleading? Because I found them quite misleading. So we know he's always fit. He's only missed one game so far due to suspension. He leads the team in assists with 3, second in chances created with 15, and second in completed dribbles with 33. 13 games, 2 goals, 3 assists, clean sheets with him on the field, 8. I've personally felt like he's been ghosting quite a bit of this season. That's just me personally. Where are you? Well,
I said it the pregame last week. There's this French guy who used to play the midfield. He was awesome last year, and we haven't seen him. We need this guy to step up. He did step up last week. Has to be said. That was head and shoulders.
But that's night and day from what we've seen this season.
Correct.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying.
Need to see that again today.
We have to. We're starving for that kind of impact, that kind of influence out of the middle of the pitch. These stats caught me off guard because I don't think it's been that way. I don't think it's been that apparent. So, hey, I'm going to stick with it. We called it last game. Rabiot is going to have to be massive and has to start picking it up. He's going to have to do the same. He's going to have to do that game in, game out. That's the Rabiot we need. And we need another midfielder on the opposite side to do the same. We need these Metsalas to start leading the charge and helping. We can't be one-trick ponies with just the flanks. So it's going to be interesting. Does anybody call a goal from the Crazy Horse today? Let's go. We have your starting lineups. It's time to put our money where our mouths are and get these predictions out of the way. You guys know the drill, okay? Final score, 2 tiebreakers. Ant, are you kicking us off, or you want me to?
Yeah, I'm gonna throw some more stats out there because I don't think the people here in the chat really understand the numbers of this match. Can you give us the full lineup? You stopped at the fullbacks. Do you have the full lineup there?
Oh shit, I did stop. Didn't even realize that.
Come on.
Szczesny, Gatti, Bremer, Danilo, Cambiaso, and McKennie continue on the right side. Locatelli in the heart of the mid. Rabiot, Kostic make up your left side. Vlahovic and Chiesa.
Got it.
A lot of shouts for Keane. So real quick, would you start Moise Keane in this?
No.
I know you wouldn't. No. Mark 1 said, "Hey Berto, did you hear the new song release of Moise Keane? I was confused. He should focus totally on football. If he wants to be a singer, he should quit. We need full-time players, not part-timers." I'm not going to crucify a guy for a passion project.
Yeah.
Like I have a main gig and this is my passion project. So I'm not going to crucify.
100%.
Yeah.
This is our music video. So we have full-time jobs.
I'm not going to crucify him for that, but I do stand with you. Vlahovic should be starting this game. 100% Vlahovic.
Just who takes the penalty shot if we get one?
Not Vlahovic.
100% correct.
Danilo.
All right. Yeah. I'd even like.
I haven't seen any of the rest take kicks in training. That would be the call, but I heard Danilo's good at them.
Here we go. So Juventus is under 2.5 goals in 7 of the last 9 games. So write that down. We're unbeaten in 9. We have no clean sheet in our last 3 games. So we're on a bit of a streak there. Head-to-head in these matches, Napoli hasn't lost in 4. It's tough to use these stats because they were a bit of a juggernaut last year. So take them with a grain of salt. Both teams have scored in this match in 4 of the last 5 matches. So And Juventus is without a clean sheet in head-to-head with Napoli in the last 6. Yeah. So I already gave the Napoli home and away stats. So are we just going to jump right into predictions? Because I'm ready. I am ready to go.
Fire away, my friend.
I'm going to go with the 1-1 draw in this one. So the draw this one, money line is plus 210. The correct score of 1-1 pays plus 550. I'm going to go with Bremer off a set piece at plus 700 for our only goal scorer. I'm going to take Juve at halftime. So 1-0 lead at halftime at plus 190. And I'm going to say, this one's a bit of an outlier, but I think it might pay. Each team gets 3 or more cards at plus 290.
Oof.
I think it's going to
start
get
stats.
chippy.
Who's ref in this game?
Orsato, the main.
That's right,
cheese.
Orsato. The Napoli Chihuahuas were already yipping about that, which is hilarious because they've won games against us. We haven't beat them in the last 4. We haven't got a victory. And Orsato was in there for, I believe, 2 of them. But Napoli's going to have to Napoli. That's what they do, and that's fine.
Stop it.
I heard those remarks from De Laurentiis as well. It's trying to speak about his team and why the sudden change from last season to this season, saying, oh, it's so difficult to win all the time unless you're cheating. You know what? Go fuck yourself. Juve today will score 2 on Napoli. Napoli will be fortunate to break our defense, in my personal opinion, but I do see them getting 1. It's a 2-1 victory for Juventus today at home. 2-1. Tiebreakers? Okay. So, we have a midfielder scoring one of our 2 goals. Okay, so I am going to call one of the midfielders. It's going to be either Mac or the Crazy Horse. I don't think Locatelli's going to get one in this game. So I'm going to say one of those 2, Mac or Rabiot. As far as the other, do we get that set piece goal against Napoli? No, I actually... Maybe the midfield one is off a set piece, but I actually see one in open play. And I'm going to go as far to say that Juve scores within the opening 20 minutes of this game. Okay? That's my other tiebreaker. Juve's first goal comes within the 20 minutes because Juve, while everybody talks about this team shutting down, clamping down, backing up, the thing is, we've been able to because we've been scoring first and we've been calling teams out. And at some times, like we did against Monza, showing absolute disrespect that they will break us. With how far back we dropped against Monza was laughable. We definitely didn't do the same against Inter. We will definitely not do that against Napoli.
I got that number for you if you want it. So in 14 matches this season, we've gone up 1-0 11 times.
Yeah.
10 wins, 1 draw.
Yeah. And I'm calling we go up again in this one. And that is good for Juve because an awful stat we have is when we go behind. We've only have we gone behind this season once to Bologna? That's it.
And that was a draw. And then we went down to Sassuolo, which was a loss.
That's right. But previous season, chasing from behind and when conceding record, terrible. But the good news this season is we've been jumping on top. I expect the same today against Napoli, okay? So,
and another thing is, everyone should know, we haven't given up 2 goals in a game since that Sassuolo. All other games have either been 0 or 1.
Yeah.
So we are not leaking goals. So, you're still saying you think it's going to go over 2.5? Good for you. I don't know.
Oh yeah. It's going to be, as we like to say in Canada, a barn burner. All right? A barn burner. An absolute barn burner of a game. But I do believe Juve comes out on top. Now, Storm the Barn. We got to get these Storm the Barn questions in. Fire away everything. Guys.
I'm on vacation. I got time.
Where are your predictions? Let's go. We just dropped ours. Get in here.
Did everyone just fall asleep?
Let's go.
I'm literally on vacation. I have nothing to do. So
let's go.
Come on.
Prediction time. Now, before we get to Storm the Barn and completely open it up, I got to say Agnelli's birthday, because we did talk about Ferrero and the new management and everything. Well, Agnelli, all I can say is this, that I know, we all know how it ended and that it was sour and, brutal considering all the good and stuff. But for me, all the good could never be overshadowed by how it all kind of unfolded at the end. For me, this guy did so much. And we saw a decade that we may never see again, ever. The stadium, next gen, the Women's 9 team. Years in a row, 5 doubles in a row, 2 Champions League finals. Obviously, I think the Barca one hurts me even more because of just the scenario situations around that game, but both brutal, but both 2 of the best teams to face. The women's team, the best women's side in Italy, like it just can't be overshadowed for me. So I will always be thankful for everything Andrea Agnelli did. And yeah, I also wouldn't rule out involvement in the future, me personally. But my thoughts for him will never change. I will always have a tremendous amount of respect for Andrea Agnelli. Ant, anything to say on Andrea?
No, nothing more to really add. I don't see him coming back in any sort of official, in front of the camera sort of capacity. I believe those days are behind him. Yeah. The club, I think, is just going to move forward. I think Elkin's going to move in a different, just a different path. Just bring outsiders in, run it more as a business, because you have this large entity that is a business, and I think it has to be run appropriately. We can't be doing these, as much as it made sense, these Super League things, do a media battle against UEFA. And that's not where Juventus wants to be anymore. It's a brand. Yeah, rightly or wrongly, it's a brand. It's a business. People's livelihoods are staked against it. We have shareholders. All this extracurricular sort of nonsense, if you want to call it nonsense, can't happen anymore. Focus as a business. You have Giuntoli focusing as the sporting director, as the team. You sort of keep them separate. I don't see it being run as, hey, this is a person with one face. This is my team. We're going to, I want the team to do this, but I want the club to do this. I don't see that really happening. And unless it's sold, I don't really see that happening. But a minority stake, even though John Elkin has shut that down, no, I think it's going to be just keep it on low key, do the football business, and then the brand will handle the brand separately.
Yeah. I actually feel similar. And yeah, that's what I mean. It's hard to fathom 9 straight league titles. Our opponents today called themselves a dynasty, winning their first in like 33 years. So yeah, reality is going to sink in. I love Eric's prediction here. Let's return the favor. Would love to see it. Not going to put any Chicoria on that one, but would absolutely love a beatdown and thrashing. But hey, at the end of the day, the victory is what I want, and I do believe Juventus will get it. This is going to be a hell of a match to watch. I wish I could bring a live watch along. Unfortunately, will not due to work, okay? But we are back tomorrow morning with the post-match podcast, all right, covering it. Hopefully, It's a victory that we get to cover. I do want to talk about some other things again. Storm the Barn questions. Now is the time, all right, to fire away. I see Adam in here. Adam was the winner of our King Kong giveaway, so congratulations.
Oh, yeah.
Received his King Kong tee, the signed 8x10. He's also absolutely crushing our Fantacalcio, all right? But the biggest story out of the Fantacalcio is that I have overtaken Lucci for the lead. He is dropping off, and Lex FC is dead last. Not just in terms of AJC, but almost in the entire Fantacalcio league with like 200 and something players. Lex FC,
I'm going to guess she doesn't even remember making a team.
I'm going to guess that she stuck with
the scoreline. I'm gonna put a little bit of money on this.
I'm thinking she took Luca's picks, is what I'm thinking. But
Eric, I'm putting money on a 5-1 scoreline, plus 15,000.
oh, nice!
Boom.
Imagine that.
Let's
Wouldn't that
bet
be
it into
something?
existence.
Now, what is your opinion on the winter mercado? Please do not tell me that we need to sell before getting valid players.
Yes, we do.
Not if it's a loan with obligation. No, we don't have to. We don't have to.
We don't have to, but we will.
If you have to, no team in Italy. I think the biggest concern, I would say, is whether or not the team is ready to release our targets in January or not. Because out of all the targets we were hearing, I was leaning more towards Samardzic and Sudikov being the most viable, realistic options. Number one, because Udinese already had a deal in place with Inter for a loan with redemption later on. If that's the move, yeah, we can make it happen. My theory that we talked about earlier on in the show is that maybe, just maybe, Juve doesn't want to commit to anything right now and wait until the summer. We still have question marks with contracts. We're still trying to work out. Number one, Vlahovic. Vlahovic is a huge, huge issue right now that they have to figure out. They have to figure out if they're going to be able to spread out some of that salary. And you're starting to see it affect Federico Chiesa directly, because what we're hearing is that Federico Chiesa is going to probably take the 1 year, but that's because they can't really take it further and really bump his pay a whole bunch. So the theory that's being put out there is that it's a 1 year to just hold everything in place to be able to work to something bigger with longer term and better money for Chiesa. Obviously, Vlahovic's contract is going to directly affect that. Adrian Rabiot's contract could potentially affect all of this. Juve wants 2 to 3 years for Adrian Rabiot. Rabiot apparently has given his yes to a 1 year. The only obstacle is Champions League football, which I don't think is an obstacle. We have to wait and see. There are so many uncertainties right now, but I think the Vlahovic thing is a big one, and all eyes are going to be around that scenario heading into the summer. The big dogs have been pretty quiet on Vlahovic. I could see it unfolding.
They haven't said a thing.
I could see it going in any direction, to be honest.
Yep.
I would not be surprised if Juve shops him in the summer. You have another year down on his contract, which means that the amortization makes it not such a large number that you have to take in to make some money. But the interest is not, apparently, according to reports and sources, but not the three big guys. Apparently, the interest is not where it is. But I fail to believe that too. I still think he would get some good interest if Juve truly did shop him. We'll see what happens. What do you think?
I want to see Vlahovic under a different manager. I'm not getting this whole like he's doing a good job, bad job. I'm just saying. I would like to see Vlahovic under different, because you saw what he did in Fiorentina, and it's like, well, why can't he just do that? Why can't he did that there? You know, to say that he has a worse surrounding cast. Can you say he has a worse surrounding cast events that he did at Fiorentina?
No.
If anything, it's on par. Like, what are we? So I would like to see him under a different manager. In terms of January, we already talked about that earlier. Oh man!
I will say this. This is what I'm going to say about Vlahovic, because Max Allegri hit the nail on the head in his press conference yesterday, okay? And this is the major difference. It's not the supporting cast. It's not Fiorentina's coach and Juve's coach. It's the fact that when you're at Juventus, there is this insane amount of pressure that you cannot escape. That's the reality, everybody.
Yeah.
That is the reality. That is what Dusan Vlahovic is facing. He misses a PK, it is the end of the world. He could miss whatever he wanted to at Fiorentina. It's nowhere near the same level. Max hit that right on the head. He embraces it. He loves it. And I love that about Max, but he's spot on. I said this a lot. The pressure, but the media attention, the rumors, Juve is under the microscope in all facets all the time. All the time. You can't escape that. And as a player, you got to be able to handle that, and you got to be able to deal with that and just keep rocking. 3 PKs out of 5 missed, 6 big chances missed in games, amongst the highest on our team. I got to say, like, for me, it's starting to become just too much noise and too much excuses. You just got to put up. You just got to get your head down, and you got to get the job done. It doesn't matter. I'm not, like, back in the day, you didn't hear of our guys bitching about, oh, we play in this setup, we play in this style, we play in this. It's like, no, just get out there and fucking do your job. Get it done. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's and I think I don't want Alex to get him all his panties in a bunch here, but I am the biggest Vlahovic supporter, I think, in the AJC. I want to see this guy succeed here. I do not want to sell him. Even if a big offer comes in and Max says, I want to see Vlahovic stay here for a very long time. We need him to fire on all cylinders. It has to. I want him to perform like he did at Fiorentina when he was a Capo Canieri. That's the Vlahovic we need. That's the one. Now, I will say, since he came back from injury, he has had a better attitude on the pitch. Haven't seen him pouting. Haven't seen him, he's complimenting teammates. Good pass here. He hasn't hung his head. He's been working better. He's been showing the type of movements that Milik does, coming back, controlling. He has elevated his game. Now he needs to put the ball in the back of the net on a more consistent basis.
It's like it flip-flops for me. It's like I see the moments with good attitude, good, like when the game he played against Inter, I haven't seen that Vlahovic nearly enough. And I could say that his follow-up performance was not even close to what he did against Inter, just in terms of demeanor, attitude, and all this. Like, it was already softer, not as strong on the ball. I don't get it. I don't get it with him. But I need that. The same thing I'm asking for from Rabiot all the time, consistently. I need way more from Vlahovic. Sure. That gap for me. When I was asking for more out of Rabiot, there was a shorter distance to cover for Adrian than what we're trying to cover with Vlahovic. That's how I feel.
That's a good way of putting it.
But we'll see what happens. This comment, so Mark had the Great Storm the Barn question last week that we took into the green room, but I don't actually agree with this. And I believe we can challenge for the Scudetto without bringing in recruits. But again, my theory kind of comes around the fact that Max has some options available to him in terms of changing roles with the personnel he has. But not only that, we're in the Scudetto race right now.
We're 2 points out.
As it stands.
Almost halfway through the season, we're 2 points out.
We don't
we're
need
right there.
An insane amount of depth to play in just Serie A. Like, I don't agree with this. I think we will still be where we are and competing the entire way through this season. What do you guys think, chat? And Anth, are you on the same page as me?
Yeah, I'm just looking at the schedule here because some teams have to play their Coppa Italia matches in December. We lucked out. Our first one is in January. So we have a lighter December schedule than other teams have, but we 2, 4, 5, right? We play 5 games in January, potentially 6 if we go, because there's the next round. The semifinals are January 10th for the Coppa Italia, I believe. So again, I don't think we need as many reinforcements as people think in order to compete, because we have a favorable schedule for both Coppa Italia and Serie A with what we have right now. Yeah, those two definitely need each other. Like,
yeah.
Come on. Like ketchup and chips. That's what, you know what I mean?
No.
You don't like ketchup chips?
No.
Oh my God.
Not at all.
We're not getting into this. We're not getting into the chip conversation. We'll save that for the green room. Anyways, you brought this point up. I think one player wouldn't hurt. You want to know something? If we have one reinforcement, is it going to drastically change our season?
It could, depending on the profile. Yeah. We're screaming for an offensive midfielder, like screaming. Miretti has not been able to pull the
We
weight.
are, we are,
Um,
but would it? So I guess the answer is, we need reinforcements for the Scudetto race. Yes and no. Like, we're doing fine with what we have. Could we use another player? Absolutely. Do we absolutely need one? Arguments could be made that yes, we do, and no, we don't. Losing Pogba and Fagioli were massive, massive for this team, but we've done well without them. So there's kind of like, there's both sides of the argument. We've done
yeah.
well, but who wouldn't want reinforcements?
Well,
I
yeah,
think we're
you
going to be right
have
there to
to.
the end. We're going to be right
You're
there.
still going to have a lot of teams that will play Juve in that classic fashion where they take your flanks away. And when it comes down to that, that's where the gap in the
We're in
middle
trouble. Yep.
comes out.
Yep.
And if we find a solution to that, yeah, it could make some of these victories a little bit more comfortable, for sure. But is it the make or break? Like, I still see us battling for this thing the whole way through. Yeah, it's just like, people are like, I get it. Inter's doing well and stuff, but Champions League's going to ramp up. They're going to go hard in for that too. They're in Coppa Italia as well. Like, and even like a comment like, say, well, it's not going to be easy. It's never going to be easy. It's never easy to win the league. Like, although it's like we're buying into the fact that when we won 9 straight, it was easy. It's never easy to win. It's never easy to do it, But Juve, in this transitional phase with the roster that we have right now and where we're at, this is very, very good. We're sitting in a very, very good position. I feel like we're playing with free money. I really, really do. And that's a good spot for Juventus to be in. The game today, who's got more pressure on them? Napoli or Juve? Because Napoli has now given up 4th spot because Roma's passed them with goal differential. They've got 11 goal differential, plus 11. Napoli's got plus 9. Napoli can't afford to go down in this one again.
Nope.
But like, the pressure's all on them. With us, if we go down 5 points to Inter, okay. But it's far from over. And I just feel they're going to be the ones. In Canada, we have a saying that's around hockey that's called gripping the stick too tight. They're going to be the ones gripping the stick too tight, not you.
Yeah.
You agree?
100%. Even a draw for Napoli is a problem. I don't know who Roma has this weekend. Maybe somebody can look that up. I think what was the stat I saw the other day? In the last 7 games or 8 games, Rome has the most amount of points behind Inter and Juventus. Like, they're on a bit of a tear here. They came from way down and now they find themselves in 4th place. I still think they're a clown show with Mourinho, them, Atalanta, Udinese, all those teams. They're all just a big clown show. Lazio too. I'm just going to lump them all in there as a clown show. But amongst themselves down there, they can cause problems. They're going to take points off each other. Napoli knows that. And Napoli needs maximum points today. They are looking for maximum points.
There's a lot going on in the top 4. Roma has picked up 19 points in their last 8 games. 6 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss. But it's been unconvincing. But Mourinho won't care. He's back up top 4. Correct. Where he wants to be. They face Fiorentina this weekend, which is going to be that's going to be an interesting game. Atalanta face Milan, which has top 4 implications because Napoli's going to want to stay safe there. And then us and Napoli, like, there's a lot going on this weekend and some tasty matchups. It's going to be interesting to see what goes down. But for me, even to say, like, Inter have a better squad this year, I don't think they are going to drop points. They are not going to go the year undefeated from this point. It's not going to happen. Like, they are going to drop points. They're not going to go through undefeated here. Alex P saying, what do you think about the big chances created and the big chance missed from the start of the season? I've been saying this for quite some time now, okay? That we have not been anywhere near clinical enough, okay?
Not even close.
And I said that these numbers support that it's a bit of a disillusion, what everybody's feeling from Juventus, that we don't create nearly enough for these guys to be firing. I mean, Chiesa's got 7 big chances missed, I believe 6 or 7. Vlahovic is at 6. Like, and that's just them two. If they bag a couple more out of those, we might be singing a different tune about them in general up front and our attack. But for me, we do actually create. Look at the last game. It could have been comfortable. Gatti misses one that's easier to, like, it's so hard to miss that opportunity than it is to put it in the goal. Like, I'm not going to have any other words about it. Like, off balance, this, that. I don't give a shit, man. You're like 10 inches from the goal line. That thing needs to be put in the net. Bottom line.
He put himself in the wrong position to score that. I'll say that.
Oh, fuck that. Like, that's got to go in the back of the net. Like, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. But, like, we miss so many opportunities that make these games tighter than they should be. And then we enter a mode where it's like, okay, you've gone for it, but now why open up? Let's shut her down so that we at least keep that safe. But for me, the one thing we do have to change, regardless of big chances missed, big chance created, we can't feel so comfortable on one goal. That's my only gripe with this Juve.
Right.
That's it. Outside of that, I think what we're doing is the way to go forward with this group of players. I wouldn't change to a 4-3-3. I wouldn't change to a 4-2-3-1. We're chasing more goals when we have the most big chances created second to Inter. We have the most big chances created and we want to like change everything. But no, you play to your strengths. Our strengths are at the back. We've only conceded one more time than Inter has. Play to that. Play to that. One or two. Play to that. Okay? And go from there. Go from there. We're still creating a ton. The guys need to be more ruthless.
Who do you before we don't see any more Storm the Bonner questions here? Who is your pre-match? You need to have man of the match
today.
Who's that guy that you're like he needs to fire today for us to win this match? Who do you want to see maybe step it up? Maybe this is
I stand behind this because of what I've been saying, and I have confidence in the back. Even if Danilo's there, if Rugani's in there, I would have confidence with the guys at the back. For me, it's the midfield. And even while we talk about these guys not being ruthless at the top, all you can do there when guys aren't firing is hope that it picks up and it changes and that a spark goes off and then all of a sudden they just go on a streak or go on a tear. But even Chiesa has missed opportunities he needs to be bearing. You know, we've talked a lot about Vlahovic here, but between the two of them to have that high a number of big chances missed, it's got to get better. They have to be ruthless. Keane has big chances missed to his name as well. They got to get better. Milik getting a start. There's still a lot that believe he is the best out of the three and should be starting for him. I could see why they make that case, but for me, his impact off the bench is massive. Adrian Rabiot, for me, has to be the same Rabiot he was against Monza for this Juventus to succeed and pull away and start getting more opportunities as well. It's Adrian Rabiot for me. We need that impact and influence out of the midfield. I'm going to say it's him. What do you think?
I was looking at my little spreadsheet here with all the tracking numbers. Chiesa hasn't scored since our loss to Sassuolo. He's had his chances. He's played well. I'm not going to say he hasn't played well. He needs to get on the score sheet. He needs to get out of his head, and he needs to start putting some balls in the back of the net. Whatever we want to say about Dusan, I still stand by all that. But this team goes as Chiesa goes. When he is on, this whole team just feels different. Again, I agree with the midfield. Our defense is solid. At the back, in between the pipes, we haven't really had any issues. Today, I want to see Chiesa absolutely torch this team for a hat trick. We need it. We need him to start firing.
Yeah, we do.
That's a long time since he scored.
And it's not for, again, I could think of that opportunity, top of the 18, where he doesn't even force a stop. Like, these guys are getting moments. You just got to be way more clinical. You got to be way more ruthless in front of goal. I don't want to see the fucking training videos of these guys scoring worldies and shit like that from Juventus official accounts and stuff. I want to see this shit on the pitch. And enough with the excuses. Enough with the, oh, we sit back too much. Look at how many times he dribbled with Italy. Who gives a shit how many times he dribbled with Italy? You know that his favorite move, top of the left side of the 18, one cut in and hit to the back post? Do you know that that's not even counted as a dribble? I don't give a shit how many times he dribbles the game. Get Chiesa in that spot, in that moment, as many times as you can. But again, we need to be better in the midfield so that he doesn't have to drop so far back to pick up that ball. Because there have been games where that's the only way we can find him. And that's why I lose my shit on the midfield. But Chiesa and company, they got to pick it up. But it all comes down to the middle of the park. Hey, and yes, I'm a midfielder by trade, so bias, whatever. You win and lose by what happens in the middle of the park. Juve today,
Hard to argue with that.
do not lose that battle. I want to see Rabiot be the Rabiot against Monza. He has to be an absolute beast. And Chiesa, Vlahovic, whoever the hell is up top, probably those two, take your chances and make Napoli pay. They're probably going to have Merit in goal. This guy is on a run of shockers, you guys. This guy has mistakes.
That means prime Buffon showing up. All right.
Pepper him with shots, okay? Pepper him. Force him to make some saves. This guy's been a horror show. Yeah, and, you know, we wouldn't be surprised if he turns in a prime Buffon performance because that's what happens sometimes. So, Sal coming in here with what's the long-term plan for Perin? Well, Perin's still contracted 1 year beyond Tech. I think he's fine. I mean, next year he'll be back in Champions and he'll start getting rotations in Coppa Italia and more league games. So I don't think anything's changing, to be honest.
I think he plays our first. I think he plays our first game. Against Salernitana is who we have in Coppa Italia.
He'll have Coppa Italia, yeah, Salernitana, and then we will face the winner of. Napoli, and who's Napoli playing again? I'll tell you here in a second. But yeah, we'll face the winner of that round. We are going to have some fun with the Coppa Italia, and we're going to see who can draw out the remaining brackets. And I might put up a prize for it, all right, and have some fun. But Napoli is playing Frosinone, so we'll face the winner of that on our side. So, hey, we'll get very familiar with Napoli. I don't expect any slip-ups against Salernitana. Joey Cappuccino is going to be in New York with the Empire State Fan Club. We have Tony Trim from Toronto who's going to be joining them. And maybe even Sweet Lucifer, Lewis, might be there in New York as well. Enjoy the watch parties today. I wish I could bring you a watch along, but work calls, everybody. Enjoy the game, okay? Fino alla fine, Forza Juve. Hopefully we take it to Napoli today, get the win, and then we'll be back tomorrow, okay? We're going to be back tomorrow, post-match podcast. Guys, like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Man, okay, how are you feeling right now? You got the nerves, or you kind of get closer to kickoff, you start getting that?
It's about 17 minutes from kickoff once the guts start churning. I'm on a vacation day, so I got all day to think about it. I got a whole bunch of other stuff to worry about, but
I'm curious how the chat feels because, to be honest, I said this before the Inter game too. I don't get as nervous anymore. Last year, big games, I was like, oh my God, like we could get romped. We could, this could be brutal. I'm not feeling that. Like I am feeling good about this team because I believe we will be hard to crack, and it all starts there. I said with Napoli, everybody's talking about, this beautiful football all this last season. They conceded the least in Serie A. They've already conceded 17. They're 11 goals away from that. Let's chip into that a little bit more today, everybody, okay? Let's take it to them. Let's give ADL the big day, all right? We'll see you all tomorrow morning. Enjoy the game. Forza Juve. Get it done, boys. Get it done. We can go back to the top of the table for the time being, and then maybe Samardzic. Hey, who knows? Maybe he pulls some magic off and they do the unthinkable. We'll see. The games, you You got to play him on the pitch. Doesn't matter what happens on paper. We'll see what happens. Take care, everybody, and we'll talk to you in the morning. Ciao tutti.
Set the tone.
Set the tone.
Yeah.